What's going on, guys? Grenadier back here with another video. So you would have seen the video that I released, I think it was yesterday, Friday. If not, go back and watch that. I picked up some minis off eBay. Now, as I mentioned in the video, the eBay listing said that they were Grenadier miniatures from 1980, and I was like, yep, super cool. Had a quick look at the pictures. Yep, it was a really good price, $10. Bought it, they arrived. Now, I'm very, very happy with the minis for the price. But when I was looking at the minis, a couple of things stuck out to me, and I sort of went through this in the last video. So, like, again, this picture doesn't really capture it all that great, but the sculpt was really, really good. I'm like, this just looks way better than a mini from 1980. And then I was checking under the bottom, and it had the date on there, and like the mini monitor model number, so A484, and I felt like that looked more like a 1990 than a 1980. But you know. Obviously, I wear glasses on the computer for reading, so it wasn't wasn't that clear to me. And I thought, well, when I actually start painting them, I might run a wash under the bottom to really pick out that date and see what it really says. But I was sitting here yesterday, and I was looking at the minis again. I was like, God damn, these minis are just, the sculpt is too. It cannot be 1980. The detail and everything is just too bloody good. So I dove down the rabbit hole, and I started looking around. Now, the first site I hit up is there is a mini, I guess, wiki sort of thing for like all brands, all manufacturers, all different models. It is super duper cool. So it's the miniatures-workshop.com. Now, I will leave a link to the website down the bottom. So this is really, really good for tracking down minis. So I jumped in, I was looking at the Grenadier section, and I couldn't find a reference to A484. Now, I could have, and I was searching for dwarves and 484 and all that. Obviously, this site covers dozens and dozens of manufacturers or model makers, and dwarves obviously are a very popular model. So I wasn't getting anywhere, and I'm like, this is so odd. So I was searching and searching, and I came across a blog post from 2013. Let me see. And they posted this picture, and I'm like, ha ha! That one on the right, that is my mini. That is mine. And they were really asking for help with it. I will have a link down to the blog post as well, but they couldn't identify the miniatures, so people are looking and looking and looking. Actually, this blog post was them solving the mystery. And they're definitely not from 1980. They're from 1990, from a line of miniatures called Fantasy Warriors. So Fantasy Warriors was a fantasy like miniature battle game that was written in, drumroll, 1990. Now, it was written by, some of you may even be familiar with this guy's name, so Nick Lund. He was very, very prolific, and I think well regarded as a miniature sculptor. He actually owned a company in the early 80s. The name of it escapes me now. But they got bought by Citadel, and he worked for Citadel in the 80s. So he was making models for Citadel. He helped create a bunch of stuff for them, Games Workshop, or Citadel/Games Workshop. He then was also a big part of, so there's Grenadier, which was an American company, and then the Grenadier UK. So Nick was a big part of that, and he did lots and lots of sculpts of that, and he's always had a super good reputation. And I tell you, even for 1990, these minis stand up today. I am going to try at some point to take a really good, clear photo of the miniature so you can just see just how good these sculpts are. I mean, this picture from the blog post doesn't really help matters because of the paint job and the lighting and all that kind of thing. So it's hard to see the detail. So if you look here, 931 is the series or model number or whatever for these miniatures, but the plot, she doth thicken. So turns out that, and here we could go to a sort of bit better of the miniature, and it turns out that these miniatures are actually still being produced to this day by a few different companies. So Grenadier Models published the miniature war game Fantasy Wars in 1990. As I said, it was created by Nick Lund. But and also there's a Strata / Nemo miniatures. They also brought out a box set of the game, and they added some miniatures to it, so you could get this as a box set. You could buy boxed armies and that. So a lot of these minis are actually still in production. So there was a company called EM4 and Battlezone Miniatures, Full On Hope Games, or Full On Hope Miniatures, I can't remember, and Merliton or Merliton, it's Mirliton. And they make these minis, and I went on their website and checked it, and lo and behold, the minis that I have here are there. But there's another little thing. So this picture here is obviously of the miniature, as it were. But here on the right, everything is exactly the same except for on the spear. It's got this, it has like these tassels, these flourishes, and that's on every single one of the miniatures that I have, which is super duper crazy. So I dare say at some point someone's added to or altered the sculpt and then recast the mold. The date stamp, the Grenadier, is on the bottom. So I still don't know whether mine came when they were packaged from Grenadier or one of these other companies that took over like casting and selling these models. But mine definitely has that difference with the spear. Obviously, it's a lot more decorative. Jesus, try to get it out, buddy. But yeah, I thought that was super duper interesting, and I got to scratch that itch in my brain that notices things like this and picks things up. So I will have links to these websites in the description below. So if you pick up any sort of models, like obscure models from certain companies, this might help you track down when it was released, who sculpted the model, the company, all sorts of interesting information. So there we go. So they're not fake, but I didn't get gypped. And again, I don't have no idea whether the seller had any idea about the history of this particular model. And I am not at all bagging him out. I don't feel like I got ripped off. Like, I didn't buy these specifically for they had to be the 1981 or the 1980 model. I just saw it was a good price. I loved Grenadier and Railpatha back in the day, and I thought I'd grab them. I do not regret it. Honestly, if more of these came up for the same price, I would buy more. They're super duper awesome. So there we go. Nice, interesting little tidbit. coming up this week. So I hope, first of all, I hope everyone had an awesome Gary Gygax day. Hope you got in some good gaming with your friends and family. This week I'm going to be uploading the first actual video about world building. So I'm going to talk about some of the tools I like to use, some sources of inspiration. These miniatures have definitely helped me sort of get the creative juices going. I'm kind of on a dwarf kick. So I'd like to delve into that. I've picked up another couple of splat books on eBay, so when they come, I'll make videos on those. And I'm going to start prepping, like stripping the these minis that have got paint on them, and prepping for paint. So I've ordered flock and grass tufts. I have all the modeling tools. Very minimal flash on these guys, but there is a mold line right down the middle of the shield, which obviously you want to get rid of. So I'll do maybe a couple videos or sort of smash some footage together of me working on those and getting those painted up. I'm very keen actually to get the battle system book for 2nd edition AD&D. So that essentially is rules for playing an actual war game within Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition. So getting miniatures together and actually having a large scale battle. So I think that's a very cool thing that to be able to chuck into a campaign. So I definitely am going to get more miniatures. Now it's one of the books for 2nd edition that I never actually own. I've done a little bit of reading up on it because I thought, how many models am I going to have to buy, all these sorts of things, but they sort of do like one model represents 10. So, you could have five across in a rank to represent 50 soldiers. Of course, 50 individual models will look heaps cooler, but means you can pretty cheaply sort of get into it, and then, I think it'd be very cool to be playing as a player character, and all of a sudden you're thrust into this battle and they're like, here's the battlefield, you've been given command of the troops, and actually doing that, commanding the troops, sending them where they go. And this is more than just your own individual play abilities, it's tactics, all those kinds of things, and how the battle goes could have a massive effect on the story. So I absolutely want to do that. I'm sure the rules are not anywhere near as good as polished as like dedicated games like Warhammer and those kinds of things, but I'm going to give it a go and see what I think. If the rules suck, I'm going to change them. But my hope for this channel further down the track is like with my daughter or something like that, to do a little battle report playing that AD&D battle system. That would be super cool. But anyway, enough waffling on. That's my little I don't even want discovery for the dwarves. So again, hope everyone had a great weekend, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.